All right.
All right.
Welcome back to the Zach Nichols podcast.
Thanks.
I'm here solo today, but we have a big guest.
Yeah. And we're missing a big personality.
We're missing a big presence. He must have gotten lost in another Waffle House. Yeah. But welcome to the podcast, Davis Mallory.
Thank you so much, Zach.
G, gonna do the thank you. There we go. There we go. G's a little rusty. Michael's also not here. For though this won't air until this happens. Michael's getting engaged. Okay. Our producer's getting engaged. So
yeah, there we go.
A girl. So good thing, good for Michael. But yeah. Davis, I'm gonna do Pierre's job.
Yes.
He reads out the stat sheet.
I literally told him I was gonna miss having him here to hype me up before he.
Yeah,
because I've watched.
I'll do my best.
Great job.
All right, Davis, originally from Real World Denver, which, in my opinion, is one of the best casts to ever be on the Real World. That is a stat cast.
Thank you.
Inferno 3, nearly a finalist. Duel 2, and Rivals 1, which
progressively got worse.
I wasn't going to say that. You have 6 daily wins, elimination record of 1-3, and so a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming to Detroit.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude, honestly, we were just about to talk about this, but I stopped Davis because I was like, listen, I want to know if he remembers. He said, have we met before in person? And the answer is yes, but do you remember it?
Not at all. I was going to ask you today. I was like, I don't think we've ever met. Like, I know you from TV. I know Jenna from TV. I don't feel like I remember meeting you in the real life unless I was drunk.
We were both drunk.
Okay.
It was at the Battle of the Seasons reunion after party at the Dublin House.
Got it. Okay, then that makes sense because I used to go to those when I lived in New York City, and I would see people.
Yeah, and we actually had a really long conversation.
Okay.
I mean, whatever, but I remember it was you, Coley, Johanna were the 3 people I met, and I just remember being like, because like when you're on the Real World, you're like, it's like kind of how you feel when you walk into a challenge. You're just like, oh my gosh, here's all the people I watched. So I was just like, oh, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did meet. We had a good conversation. Well, I don't remember what we talked about, but long conversation. You were just kind of giving me pointers and all that. And you remember the first thing you asked was like, let me guess, like you did this just to get on the challenge. And I was like, yeah, because I did. That's why I did the Real World, was because I basically was like, wait, it can continue to spin off. But I want to talk about your casting story to start. Sure. Let's start at the very beginning. So Real World Denver, that was what, like 2006? Yeah, I was going to say 5 or 6. So how did, I know you're a Southern guy.
Yep.
I know, the story, but how did it happen? How did you stumble upon being on the Real World?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Real World when I was in high school. Some of the seasons I think the first one I ever saw was Hawaii with Ruthie.
Right.
And then I think the last one I watched really seriously was like Chicago or Philly with like Landon and Tanya. So those are some people and then I went to college and I just didn't have time for it. Like I was immersed in, drinking and partying and stuff. So I really wasn't watching. And then in my senior year of college, I decided to try out for the show and just looked online how to go about it. And there was a bar in Tampa, Florida. I was going to college in Florida, and literally that weekend they had an open casting call. So it's just like weird how the timing was just so like, oh yeah, it's like tomorrow in my state. So I grabbed 2 of my girlfriends. We drove across the state, went to a bar, we're drinking. I don't know if this is the way it went for you. And then they ushered us in like 10 at a time. And then they just was like, why should I put you on the show? And I don't think what I said was interesting enough. And the guy just let everybody go but this one like loud black girl. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, I got more to say. Like I felt like that wasn't my shot. So after he finished talking to her, I didn't leave. And I went up to him and just asked him where the bathroom was. And he gave me like a sympathy application. And he was like, here, like, fill this out. Like, I don't know why he did that.
Yeah.
But then it took me an hour to fill it out.
Yeah, they're long.
Yeah.
They were thick.
Yep.
Essay questions.
The girls that I came with were like waiting on me. I'm like, I'm so sorry. This is going to take a long time. And then I go back, 3-hour drive back across the state of Florida. And I get a phone call that night. And they were like, come back tomorrow. We want to have a one-on-one with you. Mm-hmm. And I was so drunk when I filled out that interview that as he's like reading some of my answers to me, I'm like, I wrote that. I actually got up out of the seat and went over and looked, and I was like, oh, I really did write that. Like it was just like whack stuff,
right?
Because I was drunk. And I think, I don't know, he seemed to like me. And then I get a phone call a couple of days, maybe a couple weeks later, and they're like, hey, we're waiting on a video from you. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, we need like a day in your life. And I was like, well, nobody told me that.
Right.
Then I was just like sprinting to get one made, and then it just kept rolling forward. But eventually I told my mom that I was advancing, and she talked me out of it. Like mothers know best. Mm-hmm. And I actually called and told the producer, I'm not going to do it anymore. And I withdrew my submission.
Yeah.
And then some senior level producer I'd never even met before calls me and tries to talk me back in. And then I felt like I had it in the bag from that day on.
Right.
Because I'm like, why is he calling me unless he really wants me on the
show?
But I didn't find out I got on the show for probably 5 or 6 months later. So, but I always knew that I had it because he talked me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the timeline. I think my casting call was like end of February, early March. And then I guess we started filming in May or June, but my mom did the same thing.
Really?
Oh, my mom was so pissed. We actually had my mom on the podcast, and she told the story, and because my mom is very Christian, religious, and she was just like, my sister, literally, my mom and my sister told me at the same time. My sister was like, "How are you going to honor God on a show like that?" And I was just like, "That's like the deepest question I ever got." But I was like, I have to do it. Like, who gets this opportunity? Like, and my goal, obviously, like, I wanted to withhold my morals that I was taught, and it's hard, you know, just in general, because what you don't think about is like, even if you're raised a certain way, if you go out to the bar with your friends, like, you're still gonna do stuff that you wouldn't be proud of, like your parents seeing. So like, that was kind of like my internal battle. Was like, I have a side to me that I am with my friends, that I'm out when I'm social, but like when I'm around my parents, like, everyone's a little bit different, right? Like, not different, but like, you just, you know. And I was like, they're gonna probably watch this, but my parents never watched an episode.
Neither did mine.
Yeah. My mom was, she watched clips, like when people are like, "Oh my gosh, you should see this, is so funny," she'll watch that, but she's never watched a full episode. My dad tried to watch my first episode of The Real World and was like, "Nah." So anyways, that didn't, you know, there's still to this day, I did total of like 12 seasons if you count The Real World and the Champ Stars, and like, they've just seen clips, which is probably better. Yeah. You know, and you know, they seen enough of the clips online. But anyways, so Denver, you'd never been there before. You were from?
I had been to Denver once in high school. I went on, if you know what Young Life is.
Yeah, my sister was a Young Life teacher.
My mom and dad met as Young Life leaders, and my sister was on staff for Young Life.
Gotcha.
And I'd been to Frontier Ranch, which is in Colorado.
Yeah, so you'd been there.
Yeah.
But like your cast, your cast had some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I mean, it was you, Jen, who was obviously one of the like best female challengers to never win, and Tyree, who's obviously a big name on the challenge.
Has he won? I love.
He's
Tyree.
never won.
Yep. Yeah.
Then there was Alex Smith, who was I think he was a bigger character on The Real World.
Yeah.
Then you had Brooke,
who
again, like I'm saying, like, your cast had like personality to the max. So talk about that experience. Like, so when you went in there, obviously also like probably one of the biggest Real World blow-ups of all time you were a part of, you and Tyree. But just talk about when you went in there. Culture shock, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, one verse came into my mind as you were talking, and it's that verse that's like, "Good character is corrupted by bad company." And that was like an adage it's quoted in the Bible, but it's actually not a biblical reference. It's like, it was like kind of like an old adage. And I don't know, it just came to my mind as you were speaking. But yeah, for me, like, I came out of college and I was just like pre-med. My mom really wanted me to be a doctor, and I just dropped everything to go on the show. And my mom was really disappointed that I wasn't going forward with that plan of my life. I think it was just a wild season of, I mean, I don't know how old you were, but I would think I was 22 when I did mine.
20, I was like 20, I think I was 23, turned 24.
Yeah, okay.
So I had graduated. I had already done the whole, in college, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. And then I got done with college. I was like, no. So then I thought about physical therapy, and I was kind of doing that while I was playing some like professional indoor football. And I was just like, I really was at a crossroads where it was like, what am I going to do? And then this kind of fell in my lap. So I was like, well, I'm going to do this. It's going to be like my second attempt at college. Yeah. And then it just snowballed for the rest of my 20s and into my 30s. But I mean, I watched a lot of your season when it aired, because we would always, like, that was my senior year. 2006 was the end of my senior year. And then I went to college in the fall. And so we would always, during camp, I would always watch MTV during football camp. Yeah. So I was definitely watching Real World Denver back then. Yeah. So I mean, I remember watching it.
What year was San Diego on?
San Diego was 2000. We filmed in 2009 or 10. Okay. And we filmed in 2010. It aired in 2010. And then my first challenge I did was 2011. Okay. So it was. And then my last season I was on was 2000, and it was aired in 2018, I think. Okay. 2019, because I was still doing cameos. Okay. Yeah.
So that's a pretty big gap. I would have thought you did something more frequent or more recent.
No, so that 34, and then Jen and I got married in 2020, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm stepping away. I didn't know.
Are you a dad?
I'm a dad of 5, almost 5.
5.
I got 4 and one in the hopper.
Wow, dude, congrats.
3 were planned.
Yeah.
The other 2 were just total whoopsies.
Wow, bro.
But yeah, so I got a son. He's 4, and then I got a 3-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old daughter, a 9-month, 10-month-old daughter, and then I'm gonna have Irish twins here in about 3 months. Yeah, it's crazy. Honestly, it's Jenna. That's what Jenna wanted, not me. Everyone knows that already. It's crazy. Like
did she come from a big family?
So I'm one of 5. She's one of. She's one of 4, but she has 2 half siblings, so she's basically one of 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a dad, and then just recently, so then we started to do this, right? And I'm like, all right, Al, whatever. Like Pierre kind of like coaxed me, and Gino's like, I wasn't really set on it at first, and Pierre's like, no, like we'll do it, it'll be great. And I was like, all right. And then when I started doing it, and I started like getting back into the mix of being around like my old friends and all these new people, I was like, damn, like I really do miss it. So I just in the last like 2 years have been like, okay, like, because I was never someone that like, how everyone always, I'm retired from the challenge. Everyone pulls that crap. I never did that. I never made like a public statement or anything. Cause I just was like, dude, it's not that important. Like no one cares.
Yeah.
And then recently I'm like, dude, I would like to do one more. But, anyways, no, it was, so when you went on the challenge, on the real world, was the challenge something that you had your mindset on, or was it just kind of like, well, if it happens, it happens, but I'm more about, because I know there are people that do the real world and they're all about that experience. Oh, yeah. They are just like, and then they're like, I'm not really competitive. So, they kind of get coaxed into it or whatever. And, but was it something that like, you were like, oh yeah, like I'm on the real world and then my next step is the challenge?
I don't know if it was God or if it was just like happenstance, but when I got on the real world, I made a personal commitment to do 3 challenges and only 3. And my reason was I did not want to just be like the people I watched that I thought as a person watching from an outside, I'm like, that dude has no career. He has no talent. And he's just doing that show for the rest of his life until he gets really old. That's what I thought. And I was like, I don't want to be that person. I was like, I had aspirations before this show and I don't want to just keep doing it until I get really old.
Get stuck in that reality.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that like Jordan's like that too. I don't know if you know Jordan. Jordan's someone who like was like, yeah, dude, I love competing. I love the challenge. But like first he wanted to be an actor and then he was like a clothing designer and now he's like trying to be a race car driver. So there's people like that. And then you're right. There are people like CT, Johnny that are like just career men. Like, but I mean, they've made a successful lifestyle. Like there's like I guess back when you were doing it too, there was no such thing as like a full-time reality TV personality. No. Like that wasn't like a job because also correct me if I'm wrong, when you got on the challenge early on, like what did they give you, like 500 a week, regardless of how many you've done?
I think it was like 1,500 per week.
Okay, so 1,500.
Yeah.
So they had upped it because I know some of the OGs are like, yeah, it's $500 a week. Yeah. And I'm like, so like it didn't make sense unless you won, really. Yeah. You'd go like you were taking a huge pay cut to show up. So 1,500. That's like a decent pay. But like by the time you did Rivals, I know that's when like they restructured the contract.
Yeah, then I think it was like a guaranteed 7,500 just to show up.
Right. Now it's much more than that too. I think they still do the pay tiers. So like your first one, you're still only getting like my first one, Battle of the Seasons, I only made 1,000 a week.
Okay.
But then right after that, the next season you get a guaranteed 9,000 with 3,000 per week. So it has gone up. Nice. So you went into it saying like, I'm gonna be just 3. That's it. Just 3.
Yeah. And then after my third, I got hired at a record label and like a little background.
Yeah, that's what you were doing when I met you. When you were full in the music.
Yeah. So my dad's brother is a songwriter in Nashville who wrote for country artists and Christian artists. Gotcha. And he had a publishing deal. And then my dad's sister married an artist manager, and he managed Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith, among other Christian artists.
Those big names in the Nichols house, buddy.
Okay, let's
Huge
go.
names, yeah.
I mean, my first CDs and first concerts were Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith. I spent a lot of my like childhood at their house. So I just had this aspiration to work in the music industry since I was a little boy because I was around it as a kid. Yeah. And then my mom put me in a kids choir, and then I kept doing that until high school. And by senior year of high school, I had gotten into an a cappella group, 4 guys, 4 girls, and those guys today are still recording artists. Like one of them has gotten Dove Awards and Grammy Awards, and like they are vocalists for Passion, which is an Atlanta-based church and also like a really big Christian music brand. Yeah. So Christian Stanfill is one of the guys who sings for Passion. If you listen to music on Spotify, most of the songs have Christian's voice on it, but he's like the same age as I am. We went to the same high school together, same church. My mom and his mom are friends. So as I did the real world, I started seeing this career shoot off for him, and like I wanted what he was having.
Right.
And so I was like, I want to work in the music industry. I don't really want to be a reality person forever. And my uncle, like I said, was a music manager. I also thought it would be fun to work on the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got a job at Capitol Records and worked there for 2.5 years in marketing. But the longer I worked there, the less I felt like this is where I want to be forever. And as I said, I saw my friend from high school start success with music, and I was like, I want to be a singer.
Yeah.
So I left Capitol Records and moved to Nashville, where I am today, and just started making music.
And you're still making music.
Still making
yeah, because I know
music.
you went to school for music in New York and then in LA.
Yeah.
And then you went, Nashville's where it's at.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Nashville's a fun city.
Yeah.
And so are you in downtown Nashville or are you out? Because my sister lived there for a minute.
She did?
Yeah.
Yeah. What part?
Couldn't tell you. I don't
Yeah.
think so that's my youngest sister. And I don't think I ever visited her when she lived in Nashville. And now she lives in like the Grand Rapids area. I've never been to her house.
Okay.
Because she always has to come here because everyone lives on this side of the state. So like I probably should go out and see her. But yeah, no, I've been to Nashville, but not to visit my sister. But like obviously, like I did the bachelor party back in Nashville, so it wasn't like whatever. But no, it was. But it's a nice city. I mean, totally, I loved it there. But yeah, so so you're still in music, still you're a paid artist then, just doing the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I've had seasons of like highs and lows within it. I think 2018 pre-pandemic is when things were really growing for me. Like the Denver Nuggets, they had me come and be their halftime show performer, and I played on TV. I also went and did a European tour that summer, and I opened up for a winner of Eurovision. I was having a lot of success that year. And then the next year, the pandemic happened. I had a bunch of canceled bookings. And like, I used to have to pay a whole band to perform with me. Yeah. But if I DJ, I wasn't really having to just split the money up. So I kind of pivoted and just started focusing on DJing. And so right now I DJ like every week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. But it's just like I keep kind of selfishly, I keep all the profit, which is, kind of good in some regards. Yeah. It was fun to be with a band.
Right.
But this week I did DJ like a Red Bull sponsored event for the Murph, which is like for the veterans.
Yeah, definitely.
Last weekend I DJ'd the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, like a NASCAR event. And then I did a wedding for a friend in Laguna Beach. And then next weekend I have a wedding and then birthday parties and just like varieties of things, but it pays well. It gets me to travel.
Yeah.
And then my music gets played in stores while people are shopping, which is actually quite lucrative. So every time a song gets played in a store, I get a royalty, and that pays pretty well. So I'm getting like royalty income and I'm DJing.
And was this something that you pursued while in the real world, or did you kind of like while you're on the real world, you kind of just put it to the side?
Had none of that going on
and just live the dream.
I'd never written a song, I'd never recorded a song, I'd never DJ'd when I was on the real world.
Yeah.
So all that stuff came like
after,
like 5 or 6 years after I finished the real world. I went to DJ school in New York City. I went to songwriting and music production school in LA, and then just started co-writing in Nashville, and then started to make music.
That's awesome. So you followed your dream. So the real world was really more like, a lot of people use it as like a springboard, but you were just kind of like there for the experience. Yeah, I'm going to do the challenge 3 times and then I'm just going to call it quits. So have they called you since Rivals?
They called me twice, and I think one of the seasons would have been when you were on, because I think I was going to be on Battle of the Seasons.
Yeah, there was talks. Yep. You know how everyone texts beforehand?
Yep.
Like there was talks like there might be a Denver season, which would have probably been like, everyone was like, because it was all like a lot of rookies. And so we were worried about there being a Key West season, a Denver season, and a Sydney season there.
Yeah.
Teams, because we were like, well, Key West would have been real heavy hitters, Tyler, Johnny. But then we were like, damn, like you guys would have been real good.
Yeah.
And then, Sydney would have been good. But Sydney flew with us, and then they got bounced. Like as we're going to meet TJ, they're like, hey, Kellyanne Dunbar, I don't know if, it was Isaac. And then Ashley, and they're like, come with us. And then we never saw them again. Okay. They just got bounced. So we don't know what happened. Someone may have broken a rule, or maybe, I don't know, but then they replaced them with like a bunch of fresh meat kids.
Yeah.
But that would have definitely changed like how that season went. And it would have changed it if any of the veterans were there, because there was the only veteran team was Austin.
Yeah. And
we were like, all right, well, we're going to go for them first, which, Wes wasn't used to that. Well, I guess Wes was, but. So anyways, let's go back to your real world. Yeah. You guys worked in like a wilderness outreach. Was that something that you were comfortable with?
I actually strangely had wanted to do that in high school. Like it was Outward Bound, and I'd heard about it in high school, and I actually like researched it and thought I wanted to do it. So when that was our job, I was like, cool, I'm getting to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of, ours was like, we worked at the House of Blues in San Diego. So it's just like, we partied, we were bartenders and barbacks. Like, it wasn't that exciting. But Who on your season do you think you were like closest to? Like who was the like you know how like it kind of like everyone, I guess not everyone always gets along. Our season was super tumultuous, but like you always have your person.
Yeah.
You know, who was yours?
It's interesting because who I would answer today wouldn't have been who I would have said necessarily on the show. And it's more just like who stood the test of time.
Right.
Like Brooke and I live a mile from each other.
No shit.
I see her a lot. I went to church with her on Easter Sunday. I talk to her pretty often, and I see her year round, you know, regularly.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like just so far from me.
Right.
You know, so it's like it's harder to see them in person.
Kyrie's in Phoenix area.
Yeah.
Jen's obviously in Northern California.
Yeah.
Coley, couldn't tell you.
Yeah, New York.
She's still in New York. Yeah,
I believe.
And then
Alex is also Phoenix.
Alex is in Phoenix.
Yeah,
and then
and Steven is also in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of potted up a little bit.
I DJ'd like Lake Tahoe. That's over there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's north.
Yeah, I DJ'd like during ski season last year or maybe the year before, and I got to see both Jen and Steven in the same weekend.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen them in a long time.
Yeah.
And then I DJ'd in Phoenix and I saw Tyree and Alex.
Okay. So you and Tyree, obviously, everything's patched up.
I would say of all the guys, Tyree's the one I have most contact with.
He's one of the most genuine dudes you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Love Tyree.
Yeah, he's very supportive, and as I am of him, like I think of all the guys, he and I are most regularly in touch with each other.
Do you guys have a Denver group chat?
No, do you guys have one?
No, there's no. I mean,
I think I have tried to make that happen, and then just fizzles.
Yeah, no, I keep in touch with Sam and Frank. Are probably the two people I reach out to the most. I haven't talked to Priscilla since our reunion. I haven't seen or talked to Alex since our reunion, and then Nate here and there. Like we catch up a little bit, but mostly Sam and Frank. I never talked to Ashley. But yeah, no, like I literally only talked to those two, and love Frank, love Sam. Like they became like, that's crazy too that you say that, because you're right. Obviously, when I was in the house, I was obviously closest to Ashley because that was my girlfriend, and then I could not stand Frank. And then me and Sam were like love hate. Like we were roommates, but like obviously I said a lot of things to offend her. But now like those are the two people that I'm like in touch with most. Like I'd say I text Sam and Frank like at least once a week.
Nice.
We wish each other happy birthday and stuff. Sam,
when's your birthday?
August 4th. You're August 10th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
I looked it up. Yeah,
Nice,
Leos.
Man. Yeah.
A lot of Leos make it onto reality television.
Yeah, dude.
A lot of Leos, a lot of Scorpios, and a lot of Taurus. But yeah, so obviously you and Tyree patched it up. Even I think probably before you were rivals.
Yeah.
On Rivals.
Yeah. They put us rivals, but it was a joke. I mean, there was nothing there anymore to be rival over, but you know, there was no bad blood or beef. They weren't going to get a second fight out of us or anything.
Right. No, I didn't expect it either. I mean, so I do want to talk. So your first season is Inferno 3, which I call that era of the challenge. I kind of call that like the golden era.
Okay.
Like the original, like first like 10 seasons was just kind of like a bunch of founders. Like they were just trying to get their feet wet. But by the time like the Infernos and Gauntlets came around, like I feel like that's when like the parties were the best.
Yeah.
You got the most freedom.
Yeah.
The games were getting more serious, but they weren't like how they were before. And I mean, that was like a stacked cast too back then. Like, I mean, that
and Duel too, which I did.
That was the most stacked
like
male cast
super
ever.
stacked.
Yeah, that we'll cover that, but I do want to ask some questions about the Inferno 3. So you get there, and obviously infamous moment, like first night, you basically got clocked by CT. And my understanding of it and hearing some of your past interviews and just what I heard was like he was fighting with Kenny. Yeah. Like wrestling with Kenny. Yeah. And then you were just like standing there doing nothing. Yeah. And he just asked you, go ahead, you tell the story.
Well, it just felt strange because we all arrived in Washington, D.C. and boarded a flight. And like every single person took a chance to shake my hand and get to know me, or I did the same. But he noticeably didn't. So I was like flying there feeling like there was an elephant in the air between the two of us. Right. And I didn't know if it was his ego or he just didn't like me from something he knew about me. But my show hadn't even aired on TV yet. So I just didn't understand it. But I just felt this distance between he and I. Mm-hmm. And it continued as we even got to the
South Africa,
to the house.
Cape Town.
Like he literally never spoke to me, but everybody else did. And then he gets drunk, and you probably saw on TV, he's drinking out of a Jack Daniels bottle and he's doing a toast to the house, I think. Yep. And then he gets into a fight with like a wrestling match with Kenny. And Kenny makes him have a bloody nose. And still, there's never been a time where he and I have spoken to one another. And I'm playing chess with Abram, and he walks up to me and he's like, "Are you the gay kid?" That's his first time speaking to me and I've already been around him for a whole day.
Right. Plus the flight.
Yeah.
Which is about a day.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's his way of coming up to me, is just saying that to me.
Yeah.
And then he's like, can you take a punch? And I just imagine he would punch me in my stomach or chest. So I said yes to the punch. And then he punches me in the face. And that just surprised me.
Well, no shit.
Yeah. And then, and Johnny Bananas was there, and I'll always love Johnny for life because he just really stuck up for me in a way that was just like really like brotherly love. He was just like there for me because I was like crying. I went into the bathroom and I was so surprised by this, and Johnny was like just so defending me. And I saw Johnny like this year, and I just love Johnny for that because he just really stood up for me in this surprising moment. And then they just kicked him off the show.
Well, duh.
It was so strange.
That is wild, because also when it wasn't on camera, so you just see the aftermath of it when you're watching it. But it's like, it's just funny because by the time I met CT, like I flew out to the first season I did with CT, and we were the only ones that flew out from Boston. And we flew from Boston to, where did we fly? Because we went to Miami, and he was like the most like welcoming, inviting person ever.
I'm sure he's changed, and I've heard he's changed.
He has, and but by this point, like he still had some of that in him, like because he got in a fight the first night with Marlon, didn't sucker punch him or anything, but like he just was like came right out to me and gave me a hug. We went out and got something to eat, like, and I was like, because like I obviously knew like the stories, so like I see him in the airport, and I was like, dude, what the fuck,
And then the second show I did ever, they brought him on, and then he got into a fight with Adam King.
Oh, a fight?
And
that was a melee.
He like almost killed Adam, it seemed like. He was coming after him so hard, and then they kicked him off again.
And then he was gone for a while.
Yeah.
Though. So your first two experiences with him were absolute insanity.
Yeah.
Like you'd been around him for what now? Like a total of like 4 days.
48 hours.
And one of them, he got a bloody nose from wrestling Kennedy. And one scene, I don't know if you were there for that part, but like he was like talking to other people and choking Kenny out, and Kenny was like tapping him like, bro, like, like you get it, you won, and it's just like, and then he sucker punches you, gets sent home. So then the next time you see him, he goes bangs Siobhan on the roof, and then goes and has like an absolute like breaking walls and stuff. So you're probably just like, listen, I'm not doing any more shows that this monster's on. But he's a completely,
and this is one of the reasons like I've wondered if they haven't brought me back, because I've always thought that was like, how can they kick certain people off for certain things but then not kick him off for that? It's like he's putting people's life in jeopardy, and like punching people is not allowed, but then they just kept bringing him back. And I was just like, I don't understand why they're letting him come back, but then they're kicking off like Kenny's been banned for life, for example. And I understand what he did was different, but I also feel like what CT's did was also deserving of like, he can't be brought back,
Yeah, that's a question that's far above my pay grade, to be honest with you. I don't have any idea, but in a way, I think my personal opinion is people should be put on ice and should be get like breaks.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, and of course I'm old school. I was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s.
Same.
So for me, I appreciate seeing character arcs.
Yeah.
I like seeing like the people, like I like when people make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like imagine if after what happened between you and Tyree on your Real World season, they were like, we can't touch them. We can't have them on the show anymore. Yeah. You would have never gotten to see you guys like be like, hey, like it's bigger than that. Like we're close. Like, and then you wouldn't have got to see that growth. So I think, yes, when people do stupid shit, they should, that's why the show has insurance. They should get, hey man, like you're out of control. Maybe take a couple seasons, years and chill, like go be normal for a while, get out of like this, get out of the fishbowl, and then come back after you watch yourself and like learn, and then you can like show us like growth, and then people can relate to that rather than being like, they did this, they did that. Because like reality TV started, like we had Steven on Seattle. Like I don't know if you watched back then. I haven't watched it, but you see the clips. He smacked a girl in the face. Yeah. And they were like, let's ask the rest of the cast if they want him to leave or not. You know what I'm saying? Like then you have Puck, and the way Puck treated Pedro was disgusting.
Yeah.
And they said the same thing, like to the cast, like, what do you guys think? They put it in the cast hands.
Yeah.
Because what happens in these houses happens in real life. Like, you can't tell me that no one's ever gotten sucker punched. There's never been like a fight where a guy got his ass kicked and his face scraped against the wall.
Yeah.
Bad things are said. People are bad. People have an inherently terrible nature.
Yeah.
But if you just get rid of them, they're capitalizing off that moment because it's going to make air.
Yeah.
But number two, give that person a chance to come back. And if they do it again, then they just prove that they are actually a scumbag. But if they show growth and like character development, that's the whole point of reality TV.
Yeah.
You know, like they casted me and Frank to hate each other. They casted, you know, because I was like Brighton, Michigan, like Christian, conservative kid. They put me in a house in San Diego with people that I'd watched people on TV, but I'd never lived with them. Yeah. And I made a lot of mistakes. And then if they would have just been like, you know what, you're done, that would have been like who I was. But like, then I was able to watch myself and be like, damn, I don't like that. Yeah. Like that's not who I want to portray. Yeah. And you become better. So like, I understand what you're saying, but I do think
my point is just that he did it on both shows. It's like he didn't show.
I think he also punched someone on a different show.
Yeah, too, like he didn't change.
Yeah.
So to your argument,
some people it takes 20 years, some people it takes 20 weeks. That's so. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That's why they have insurance. But yeah, I mean, like back then though, like you probably didn't I think another reason now is like everyone is so like I'm gonna sue them. Everyone wants to sue everyone. Yeah. Whereas like back in the day, like the last thing that was on your mind in 2007 on the Inferno 3 was like, I'm going to sue the shit out of BMT for this because I got sucker punched by someone that they let on the show. Yeah. Like even Adam King, like I doubt he was even like, I'm going to sue him, So maybe they worry about that stuff now, now that people are so sue happy. But I mean, I think that I'm a big believer in like letting someone like continue like to show some growth and character, and he has, man. I'm telling you, like
I've heard that.
We were just talking. We actually just interviewed TJ Lavin.
Okay, nice.
And TJ said one of the most beautiful moments he's ever seen on the challenge was when CT won, and he took some of his winnings from the final prize and gave it to everybody in the final, so they all went home with money. Yeah. Could you imagine him doing that back then? No, that's crazy, And he's got a son now, and he's growing up a little bit. So
I was just on John and Beth's show like maybe a couple months ago. Yeah. And they were like, he's changed so much. Like you've got to get to know the new CT.
180. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think he still has, like, if you poke the bear too many times, like I'm sure he'll still snap, but he would never do that now. And I'm sure like if you guys ran into each other, like he would be the first person to be like, man, that was fucked up.
I do want to acknowledge that he said sorry to me through my sister.
Oh, he did?
He met her at a bar and he was like, can you tell Davis I'm sorry? And I got an apology through my sister.
You're like, I got a cell phone.
Yeah. I don't think I have his number. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have mine.
Right. But I'm just saying he could ask, your sister has your number.
Yeah, true. Yeah. True.
So that was night one. So here's this like, rookie getting brought into the show. I give you a lot of credit because then you went on to have what, would have.
It was my best season.
That's a great rookie season. Yeah. I mean, you were in the last elimination round before the final. Yeah. I mean, you went against Derek, which, listen,
dude,
90% of people that
little guy, but real tough.
Dude, no one. That guy, little guy, big heart.
Yeah,
that guy's an animal. I've seen him do some crazy shit. But let's go back through the season because there was legends there. So Tanya obviously is someone that I've always wanted to meet from the show.
Never have?
Never met her.
She would have definitely tried to make out with you.
Well, she was making out with you all season.
Yeah, exactly.
The old bathtub scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So how did that come about? Because she was married, dog.
I didn't know that. If I did, I think it was just, I was drunk. I don't remember.
You were also a kid.
Yeah.
And she had been, like, listen, I had that, listen, when an older cougar comes around, like, you don't say no. You know what I'm saying? So it was just funny because it's like, she was, maybe you didn't know, but there was a scene on that season when you're like, they were playing this game, which it's funny, but like as an adult, you're like, it's not funny. But like, it was called I Hate Tanya Cuz. And you're like, I hate Tanya because she was cheating on her husband with me.
I said that?
Yeah, verbatim. I watched it this morning because I was like, I got to make sure I got all my facts right. But yeah. There was you guys made out on like night one, then bathtubs. You guys were in the bathtub together night one, then you made out hardcore at the bar mid-season. Yeah. But it's like you get kind of crazy in there, so that stuff happens.
Because I came out of the real world and went right onto that show, having not seen myself. And something you said recently, which really struck a chord with me, is how when you watch yourself, you can make changes and adjust and edit.
It's like listening to your own voice message. You leave a friend a voicemail, and you're like, hey, do you remember like you sent me this? And you're like, no, don't play it. or watching yourself on a wedding video.
Yeah.
That's the worst. I saw myself dance on my sister's wedding video. I haven't danced since because I was like, that's what it looks like. Never again.
Dude.
But yeah, no. So you went. So that's almost like the disservice to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is like these rookies who come right out of their real worlds, these are their original show, and then they're like, hey, by the way,
you're off to another one.
Yeah, you're off to another one. So you never got to even see the things. Yep. So the things that you did that were probably you didn't like were exacerbated in your second season.
So I didn't see any of it until after finishing the Inferno 3. And then both of those shows started airing literally overlapping with one another. So I'm watching all the stuff that I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I didn't do that, after having done both of those.
Right. Now you're like watching the real one and you're like, and then I did this on the challenge. So you're like, damn, that's going to get bad. But I mean, of all the Denver cast, like you made it the farthest.
Yeah.
Which is a huge flex.
Yeah.
Because like when we were on San Diego, we were all like, listen,
we're all going home.
who's going to be the best challenger? And like, obviously like me and Frank were so competitive and then we all won together. So like it had to carry.
You won your first season ever?
Oh yeah.
Congrats.
Me, Frank, Sam, and Ashley, we won the first one.
Nice.
And then Frank and I got recasted onto Rivals 2 together, and then Frank made the final. I went home halfway through, so Frank had like the edge on me.
Yeah,
that was kind of whatever. But you made it the furthest. Mm-hmm. Your first elimination round, Alton steps in
and subs.
Yeah, that had to be awesome.
That was such a nice.
And he didn't tell you he was going to do that.
Surprise.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you had the feeling of going to elimination round, then you got to chill.
Yeah.
And then
I went against Danny.
Then you went against Danny, whooped his ass. And the thing about Danny that I thought was crazy was like the confidence that he had about going against you, and then you dog walked.
Well, it was a running competition, and he was kind of chunky.
Yeah, I know.
So it was just like who can run is gonna win.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is I put in my notes too. Before we get to Danny, I'll say this about Danny. I feel like Danny is like the Temu version of CT. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's like the discount CT, like same accent, same hard attitude, but just never showed up athletically. Because I did a challenge with Danny, and he was like the third guy to go home, and I was like, I expected so much more. But then I started doing this. I started watching all the past seasons, and I'm like, no, this is pretty much par for the course for Danny. Like great guy, like. I'd say one of the most famous real worlders ever because of his misfortune and his relationship with Melinda, but like just never really was able to put it together on the challenge.
She's another Leo.
She's a Leo too.
Yeah.
I have met her. I've done a season with her. I thought she was a very sweet girl, very nice girl. Yeah. So Alton steps in for you. He wins, and then you pretty much compete real well until you get thrown in against Danny, and then
because once I beat Danny, people were afraid to go after me. So
you're not a small guy.
And so that next round, I didn't get put in at all because they were like, oh, maybe he'll beat me.
Right.
So they just left me alone the next round.
That's usually what happens. So did you have like an athletic background growing up?
I played football. My cousin, not that this is anything that I have credit for, but my cousin was a quarterback for Clemson. And so my mom really wanted me to play football. Yeah. And I played it for one season, but I was really scrawny in that season of my life. I weighed 140 pounds or something.
Yeah,
it's like
the best.
Not tough. And I just didn't keep going with it because I just wasn't a big high school kid. But then in college, I started taking like creatine and whatever. And I grew to like 190 in college. So it was a kind of sizable, which is where I'm at today. So.
Right.
So
no weight since college, huh?
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah,
not a lot of people can say that.
I mean, I've kind of like had like my ups and downs, but I still weigh the same.
Yeah. And then that season, the one thing I put in my notes too was, it's funny that you said that about Johnny, was because that was back in the day when it wasn't even Johnny, it was John. Yeah. People called him Johnny, but his name on the promo, the credits or whatever, is John. And he was on The Good Guys.
Yes.
Which is hilarious because when you think of Johnny now, you like most people, like I know he's got a soft spot in his heart. I know he's deep down a really good guy. Yeah. I know that a lot of the things that he does and says are because he's on TV. But when you're with him outside of the show, like he genuinely is like a good dude. Yeah. Like he's got a great heart, great uncle, great son, great brother, all that stuff. But like for him to be on The Good Guys really shows like where he started on it. Yeah. And then I wrote that in my notes that like his John, he's on The Good Guys, and then you're telling him that telling me he really like had your back in that moment,
of
everyone. Like he was the one that was like kind of going at CT, made sure you were okay.
Yeah,
and so like he did belong on The Good Guys team.
He had such a caring nature. Like not any of the girls. It was like him. That's just awesome. Like nursing me and my punch.
That's like one of the first times someone's come on the challenge, the podcast, and been like, yeah, no, Johnny's a sweet guy, and I'll always love like everyone will be like, yeah, he's a nice guy, but he's a dick.
No,
But like, no, back then,
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I've had nothing bad with him ever. So,
ever, yeah.
yeah.
Well, so then I guess then my question would be, what happened? So like, we're skipping around, but then there was like Rivals 1, where like it almost seemed like you and Tyree were like sacrificial lambs before any of the younger teams, and you went into like I believe like the first.
And I made kind of a foolish move because I could have picked Big Easy as an easy target, and I picked who I thought was going to.
No, on Rivals, when you and Tyree went against Kenny and West.
Rivals, I'm talking Duel.
No, Duel we'll go back to because that was savage.
Yeah, but no, yeah, with Rivals, yeah, we just got picked first, and we went against Kenny and West, and
which was evenly matched for that game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we probably could have beat them because Tyree was bigger than all the three of us.
Yeah,
and it was a pulling rope thing,
right?
So I was like, "Oh, we're gonna win."
Yeah, I think they were probably scared
Tyree's
too.
Huge,
enormous.
Yeah,
he's.
So I thought we were gonna win it. I really had like a lot of confidence that we were gonna win that.
Yeah,
but I just don't think I held up to my.
But how did the votes go down to get like? Because like I would think.
I remember being on that challenge and being like, "This is so political," and like I'm not doing a good political game.
Yeah, but like you guys, so there was Ty was there, wasn't he? Ty, who was Ty with?
Laurel was there.
Laurel was there. No, I'm saying,
Sarah was there.
Sarah was there, but I'm saying who were like so like you, because you and Tyree at that point aren't even close to being rookies. Like if you're on the Inferno 3, both of you were on the Inferno 3.
Yeah.
And now you're on Rivals 1, like there's like the Kenny and the West, and there's a CT and Adam, and then and obviously Kenny and West had lost, and I think they maybe probably wanted to go against you guys.
Yeah.
But like there were other options there. And I'm trying to think who the heck was Ty's partner, because he got in a fight with Adam Royer the first day. I need Mike there.
Do you mean Ty like Tyler?
No, Ty was with John. Tyler was with Johnny. I'm saying Ty. Oh, Brandon. Ty and Brandon. Like why did they go against you and Tyree rather than Brandon and Ty? Like, or Leroy and Adam, or Leroy and Mike.
Because Leroy had a sub, didn't he? Because I feel like
Mike came in for Adam because he tried to punch Ty.
Yeah, and Dustin
was not. He was on X's.
He was never even on that one. Okay, yeah. I don't remember. I just remember that like I'm riding on the bus and I'm seeing all these girls with like notebooks and they have all these names and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, all these people are being so strategic and there's all these alliances and I have not tried this at all. I have no alliances here. I don't even think that way.
Oh, so you were just kind of like
no.
And you'd been out for a minute too.
Yeah.
Like going from Duel to.
Well, I mean, my first one was a team challenge, so I didn't have to really work it that way.
So it's changed a lot, too. Because Duel 2, like, what a season to be on, first of all. Like, that's, from everyone that was on that one, that's like their favorite location.
New Zealand.
Yeah. They loved it, Queenstown. Yeah. And then, like, you're right, like, it was just the ultimate, like, they casted every heavy hitter guy at that time. Yeah. Actually, Johnny wasn't on that one, but I don't think
MJ, Evan, Landon,
Brad, Mark. Yeah, it was a stacked cast. So you end up, and the way they voted there, like, it was pretty set in stone the way things were going to go. Like, because, like, everyone had their people, and it would trickle down. And then you had the pick of the lot. Yeah. Like, you could have chosen
That's anyone. What I was talking about. I made a foolish move. Yeah. Because I could have picked Big Easy because he would have been an easy target. But I chose who I thought was going to win the whole show.
And you did.
Because I thought if I could beat him, one, nobody would come after me because I took out like obviously the front runner, and then like two, if he's gonna win, like let's get him out right now.
Right.
So I chose Evan, and he won the whole show.
It wasn't a puzzle though.
It was a puzzle.
It was spot on.
And I started doing it backwards. Like it was a puzzle where you just put your pieces in,
climb up,
and you climb up. But like in a state of like panic, I started putting the pieces I would need to use to climb up in first, and then halfway through, I'm like, oh, I need to use these as steps. So I just started the wrong way.
Yeah.
But if I'd started the right way, I could have beat him.
Oh, no, for sure. That's not, I mean, of all the games that they had there, from what I remember, that was the one that was probably like one of the better ones for you.
Yeah, there was like a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
You know?
He's a smart guy from what I've heard. Never met him, but he's a smart guy. But yeah, I remember you called him out. A bunch of people, I mean, I think a couple other people called him out too. Like, but I mean, that was like, the nature of that show was like go big or go home kind of thing. And if you were at the bottom, like of the pecking order, what other way to shake it up than taking out, you know, one of the best competitors there?
Yeah.
You know,
because I figured like if I took him home right now, I could probably like people would leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other person I want to ask you about, because this is someone that like when I watch the challenge, I'm like, I love this guy. Like, I think he is one of the coolest cast members of all time. He doesn't get enough credit because he was one of the only people who straight up retired and stuck to it. But like, talk to me about Timmy.
Oh yeah, dude. So
Timmy was a good
on my
guy.
first challenge.
Yep.
He was super kind. He exuded dad energy.
Yeah.
Even then. Like, I don't know how old he was back then, but he seemed like he was 40 years old even back then.
Yeah. Really. So that speech that he gave when he retired, like when I watched that, like I'm like, they casted him different back in the day, because it brings tears to your eye, because he's basically like, for those who haven't seen it, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch Inferno 3 on Paramount Plus, because Timmy goes in there and dominates Abram in this one of the most insane elimination rounds I've ever seen. They were in a glass box and they had to break all the glass out. And
there's a lot of bleeding in that episode.
Yeah, they were all like, from what I've heard from Johnny, who told me about that, they were all just cut up. But like, so he's cut up. He loses because when he stands up, he hits the glass out, but it doesn't break. But he actually gets out first. He thinks he wins. Abram actually wins. And then Timmy, like, which is very rare, because like when I thought I won, but they called me out for breaking a rule, I was pissed. This guy takes it on the chin, knowing he's probably going to retire. He's also pretty injured because he could barely finish the challenge, which is why he went in, dominates, inspirational as shit, and then it's just like, hey, it is what it is, and basically says, like, what, 12 years ago I did a show called The Real World, you know, and I got to do the show called The Challenge. Then he's like, it brought me places I never thought I'd be, met people I never thought I'd meet, and just gives like the best life advice of all time.
Yeah.
He's like, attack everything the way you attack this show. Like, it was just really cool to watch. And it's like, then he just never came back. But like, you got to be on his team.
Yeah.
You got to compete alongside of him. And then that's the second time that season where someone from your team like basically volunteered to go in. Like, he's like, no, it's me. Like, I'm hurting the team. Like, you don't see that anymore. But you're right. It is dad energy. And he doesn't, I don't know. He probably was a little bit older, because I think he was on like the second season of The Real World. But what a guy.
Yeah.
And have you had any contact with him since? Do you talk to him at all?
Honestly, talking about him right now is bringing him to my mind after probably having not thought about him since I did the show.
Yeah, no, but like every time I watch Timmy on like any of those old seasons, I'm like, I want to be his best friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What an absolute dude.
You're going to make me, when this is all done, I'm going to go look him up and see where he's at. Cause like,
yeah,
I haven't.
I would love to interview him, because
talk to him.
he was witty and funny.
Yeah.
Super competitive and athletic, and a leader.
Yeah.
Like, you guys had a stacked team.
Yeah.
You know, Johnny, it was Timmy, and then you had Ace and Alton.
Yep.
And then Susie, who I love to death. Kara, but Kara is not that athletic. But then Paula, now she's a 2-time, 3-time champion. But Rachel was not on that season. No? Oh, no. Rachel from Austin was there. Yeah, but
from Austin.
That's the other thing I was watching. She had a bad exit, though. Because remember, she was talking shit about Jen. Because she's like, oh, I'm in the military. I'll go. I'll beat anyone. And then she was like, I can't believe I lost to a chubby civilian girl.
Dude, you're reminding me of things that I've not thought about. So
yeah, because you were like,
I've never watched this show since I did it.
Really? Like, this is what I do now. This is like my hobby. Is like, I watch the challenge and I talk about it. So like, I know all this stuff. So I was like, I love when people who are like, when I was on a season, it's cool to talk about, but it's cooler to talk about ones that like I wasn't there for.
Yeah.
Because just like I said, like Timmy, like I never got to do a season with Jen. Like, I thought Jen was such a badass. Like, she was. I mean, never won, but made it to like all these finals. Like Tanya, absolute legend.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of a shaky exit to the show, but like, you do have to have a soft spot in your heart for Tanya, because she was the butt of a lot of jokes. Yeah. And she just showed up every season and just took it on the chin, you know?
And she was adopted, you know? So I feel like she has probably like a heavy spirit of rejection around her.
For sure. And then she was continued to get it over and over. Yeah. And then her drinking problem got a little bit rough. Like on the ruins, she was a little sloppy, which you hate to see, you know? You hate to see all that. But Robin was on that season too, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm. Definitely done.
Who also is sober now. I don't know if you knew what happened to her.
Paula.
Well, no, but Robin was homeless.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like she was like arrested on the streets and all that. And so now she's sober. Paula's sober. Paula's great. Won't come on the podcast. Asked her a million times. I competed with Paula.
Yeah.
She's one of the funniest girls I've ever met. And especially when we were in the house together, she fell asleep one night in her suitcase when I was on.
In her suitcase?
Yeah. She's probably not proud of it, but it's funny. She got so drunk that like she woke up and she was like asleep in her suitcase, like on top of her clothes.
She's ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go, ready to leave. But she didn't. She won that season. So yeah, that was, I said I had to ask you about Timmy. Yeah. Obviously Alton, competed with him. He was probably a different Alton than you had when I competed with him.
What was your version of Alton?
Just emotionally unstable, really. Like on Battle of this. Well, and also it was like he was probably a little bit older at that point. I think he was probably close to 40, and like me and Frank were in our 20s, and we were just like piss and vinegar, and he was just probably sick of us, and so we kind of clashed. And honestly, we made his time there so miserable that he just like eventually was like, yeah, I'm going home, and he ended up losing. But like I was nervous about Alton for sure, because I'm like, this guy's a beast.
Yeah.
And he is.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that was one. I love that season. And then how long was it between Inferno 3 and Gauntlet, or Duel 2?
I feel like every show I did was 2 years apart.
Oh, so you took a whole 2-year break.
Yeah, I think I did 2006. I did the Inferno, and then I think 2009 I did the Duel, and then 2011 I did Rivals.
So what made you decide to come back after those 2-year breaks? Was it because like they weren't calling you in those other times, or was it because like life, they were calling you all those times, but you had other things going on, and then they'd call you and be like, hey, actually I do have a good spot?
Yeah, it wasn't anything I was doing. It was totally their casting decisions. They would just reach out to me. I would always say yes, because I was just down.
Yeah.
You know, I never said no. But then they just stopped calling one day. But I did notice that on the last challenge I ever did, I got sober, and I had hardly any TV time as a result of my sobriety. Whereas like on the previous two, I was drunk, and then I was getting into fights with people and got way more TV time.
Into bathtubs with Tanya.
Yeah. So I just feel like I didn't really make the splash they wanted out of me on my last show. And I kind of thought like, well, maybe they don't want to bring a sober guy on anymore. Like I'm not probably going to be drama for them anymore.
What caused, or what made you want to hit the sobriety life?
Well, I didn't get completely sober after that show. Like I got completely sober, and I've been sober now for close to 9 years. But, you know, we're in 2026. 9 years ago was like, I don't know, 2017. And I did that show in 2011. But like, I just always knew that alcohol was not good for me.
Right.
Even in college, it wasn't good for me. I did the Real World. Clearly, it wasn't good for me. I did the Inferno. It wasn't good for me. So that moment in my life, I was like, I'm going to try sobriety, and I'm going to come on this show sober. And I think I did like a year of sobriety, and just happened to be in the middle of it when I did that show.
Yeah.
You know?
So you didn't have a problem. It wasn't like you were like you just didn't like the way you were when you drank too much.
I mean, I would definitely say I did have a problem, and I would say today I do have a problem. I haven't drank in 10 years, but I would not drink if it was in front of me, because just it's either genetic or it was just a Davis thing. But like, I could not drink well ever. I would always do stuff I regretted, hook up with somebody, fight with somebody, get arrested, get a DUI, like you name it. Alcohol just always led to stuff I didn't want to do. And I realized one day the only way I can keep all that from happening is to not pick up a drink again. And none of that stuff's happened since, because I haven't drank in almost 10 years.
And you don't regret it at all?
No, I love that I don't drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably don't have, not having hangovers is probably nice too.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, there's, I have a lot of friends who are completely sober too. Like Pierre never drinks. Oh. That's because he says he's allergic to it. But I also
I'm allergic to it too then.
Well, there is like, so some people have this enzyme that there's an enzyme that most people have that some people don't. And so I have a buddy who has it. And so when he drinks, he doesn't have this enzyme that helps break it down. So he used to be able to drink like one beer and be hammered. But like, so yeah, I always wonder, like, so it was definitely like, you just didn't like the way you were when you did that. And also I think, growing up, I think we grew up in pretty similar homes. My parents, my dad has not touched a sip of alcohol since I was in like 3rd grade. Nice. And I've only seen my mom drink once on Christmas. She took a sip of Bailey's. That's it. Other than that, like if we have a family party, my mom will be like, if you want to drink, you can. It's like BYOB, bring your own beer. Like she's like, I'm not like, even like, she's like, I'm not buying it. She won't even buy it. Yeah. So like my parents were always like completely, like pretty much my whole life, besides the first 7 years, my dad completely sober. So Like it's all like I don't get drunk at family parties, but I'll still have like a couple beers. But like that's just because I got 4 kids, and I'm like, this is Nick. They're annoying me, you know. But yeah, no, like so I've grew up in that home, so it's like always difficult for me to like get to that point because I knew that I would disappoint them too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like my dad would just be like, where did it even come from? Like that's not anything you ever saw growing up. But you know, like I'm probably the black sheep too. Like I like to party a little bit. So like and I said my mom did the same thing. Like she was totally against me doing TV. Like to a point where like it was even on like my 10th challenge that I did, the thing I hated the most about going on the challenge was telling my mom that I was going to film another show. Like that's how like seriously she did not like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, and by the time I was doing like my like last couple seasons, like I was like one of like the like voices of reason on the show. You know, so I'd grown up so much, but like yeah, I grew up in a very similar home where it just wasn't like MTV. We weren't allowed to watch MTV in my house. So like telling your mom you're going on The Real World on MTV.
Oh,
she's
dude,
like,
we weren't either.
Yeah, she's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, where'd you grow up?
But you know, like back in the 90s, you could delete a channel, so you'd go up and down in MTV.
Yeah,
like MTV was not there.
Or you could put a code on it too, like so you'd have to like put a code in to watch it. Yeah, if I wanted to, I watched a few things. Like I watched, oddly enough, like one of the seasons of The Real World that I did watch very early was CT's the Real World Paris. But like I would have to like go to bed and then sneak downstairs into my basement to watch it because my parents go to bed early, and I could watch The Real World, and I'd have to like sit real close to the TV to hear it because I like if they heard me, I'd like, you know, like, what are you doing awake type of thing.
I literally did that.
Yeah,
I would sneak. I'd go to bed. You have
to, dude.
I would
like they
sneak
were
downstairs, and I would put on The Real World or MTV, and my mom would sometimes wake up and come downstairs and be like, "What are you doing watching TV?"
Yeah, you couldn't watch TV.
Yeah,
and I couldn't watch MTV, and so it was like when like your mom almost talked you out of it, my mom just didn't talk to me. Like when I was driving to the airport, she drove me to the airport. We didn't say a word the whole way. And then she was like, are you sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay. So Pierre had some questions that he wants me to go through.
Let's go, Pierre.
Okay, we already talked about that. We actually talked about these super organically. And I guess he wants to know, like, when you went onto Rivals, you know it was Rivals, and then when you found out you were partners with Tyree, was that like were you happy about that, or?
Well, I mean, as you know, just as well as I know, that like a lot of times these shows you don't really know what they are until you get there, and it's kind of being like revealed. Sometimes you're kind of like talking to each other, and people kind of whisper. But with that one, I don't remember knowing what it was. I didn't know that Tyree was my partner. I just kind of assumed like it could be, but I was happy because I was like, well, he's big. In some ways he'll be an asset. In some ways I might be a liability. He might have looked at me like,
but you guys had squashed the beef and there was no real rivalry. It was just here's the thing. That was just such like a memorable, huge fight on The Real World. That like they had to do that. You know, especially in that season of Rivals. Like, if you're gonna have Adam and CT there, I'd say like the next biggest beef would have been like, you know, obviously like there's you and Tyree, Kenny and Wes. Like Johnny and Tyler was kind of like, well, okay, but like you guys were. I mean, that scene when they show clips of The Real World, like that is one that they always show. And the funniest part about that scene that I always laugh about was like Tyree fucking so pissed off he goes and lights a Black and Mild, which like to me is hilarious because like me and my buddies like smoked Black and Milds in like high school, and I never saw anyone else smoke one, and I was watching The Real World. I was like, Tyree's got a Black and Mild. I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? So that scene was crazy.
I mean, and what was weird is I was on season 18, and at season 20, which season were you?
26.
Okay, so it's season 20, and I don't think they've ever done it since. They did like an award ceremony for the first 20 seasons, and they flew as many of us as would show up to California, and they awarded things like best hookup, best couple.
I remember that.
Biggest personality, and biggest fight. And I won biggest fight from all 20 seasons for that fight, which was so weird to feel like I've been watching this show and now I'm part of like history's for biggest fight for that reason. I felt like it was proximity. It's like I won because it was a recent experience. I didn't feel like it really deserved.
That was a big fight.
But
that was a big fight.
I didn't want that is what I'm getting at. No, I don't want this award.
Yeah. by the time like we got on the Real World, like there was really not like I was the season. No. So there was 2 seasons after me, and then they started to do like the twist because like at that point, like there's nothing that people hadn't seen. You know, there's no like new experiment they could run on people.
Yeah.
So I mean, we still had a great season. Like Frank carried it because Frank was drama central. But so now you're back in that. So you went after that. You were in New York.
Yep.
Doing the music thing. Then you went back out to L.A.
Yeah, I've never lived in LA. I've spent so much time in LA.
Didn't you go to school there?
Yeah, but I did the online program while I was living in Nashville. Yeah. So I went to the office a couple times, like for graduation and for enrollment. But other than that, I was always just doing it through online.
Yeah. And so you mentioned this a couple times. You brought up Bible verses, stuff like that. You have a very obviously strong faith in God.
100%.
Talk about that a little bit. I mean, obviously it was instilled in you as a kid.
Yeah.
And then, but it is kids that like what people don't understand is kids that are brought up that way don't always necessarily like just assume that that's what like, or just be like, hey, like you kind of got to like stray a little bit to realize what your parents were saying, you know? So talk about that a little bit.
Well, this is one of those things I could talk about for hours because this is something I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that like about 4 years ago, maybe I was dating a guy and we were not in a good relationship, alcohol, infidelity. It just was chaos. I really feel like the Holy Spirit was kind of grieving me so that we just didn't have any sex because it just felt really hollow and empty. And I went to Hawaii to DJ a wedding and I met this beautiful girl who checked me into a hostel and I became friends with her on Instagram and she was on fire for Jesus and was like going to the beach and reading the Bible at a time in my life when I wasn't surrounded by any Christians at all. All my friends were like into astrology and tarot card readings and like all worldly things.
Gotcha.
And all of my friends were gay, or a lot of my friends we grew up in the church and now they're atheists, you know? That was my community at that moment in my life. Little by little, I kept returning to Hawaii to DJ weddings and would stay at the same hostel just to keep things cheap. And she was always there and our friendship just kept growing. And after a year of knowing her, I brought my dad for his birthday to Hawaii. He'd never been. And the whole time I'm around my dad, he's just on his phone, ignoring me, like playing video games on his phone. And I'm feeling really rejected by my dad. And I put my dad on a plane to go back home because I had to DJ a wedding. And I went and hooked up with a guy in a feeling of like, I've been rejected by my father and I want a guy to make me feel loved because my father's not making me feel loved.
Gotcha.
And then that guy just rejected me as well. Like he was like, it wasn't a form of like true rejection, but basically I was trying to turn what that was into a relationship. And that guy was like, no, that was just sex. Like that's not, you know, there's nothing here. And so I got rejected from this guy and I'm literally walking out of a bathroom crying. And that girl, her name is Rachel, is like, let's go to church today. And I'm like, yeah, I could use that. Let's go to church. And then after church, she's like, I want you to meet someone for coffee. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I sit down with this little Asian guy I like to nickname Yoda. He's like 23 years old. And he starts praying for me out loud. And he's like, Davis, you have a heart for men to heal from pain. And as he says those words, I start to cry because that really felt like one of my biggest mission statements. Before I die, one of the things I want to do is because was now 40 years old. I'm 42. So this story is 2 years old. But at 40 years old, I had seen a lot of my friends catch HIV. I'd seen a lot of them die. A lot of them commit suicide. A lot of them overdose on drugs. And I'd also seen the gay culture promote like the grinder hookup culture. And I see all these guys hooking up every single weekend with someone different. There's all these orgies and all this stuff. And I'm just seeing this lifestyle promote that kind of living. And it's not really being televised. It's like they're promoting like gay is okay, but like I'm seeing the results of living a gay lifestyle for decades and I'm seeing it kill my friends.
Right.
And I'm just wondering like, is there something that could have been done at an early age in some boy's life when he's dealing with same-sex attraction, when he's dealing with father wounds that could really heal him in a healthy way and not lead him to how I'm seeing people really be led in their life, you know? So as he says this, I'm realizing like, yeah, that is truly my mission statement. So I'm crying. And he's like, but you've been treated really unkind by the church throughout your life. And I was like, yeah, I have. And he's like, and one of your harshest critics was your mom. And I'm like, yeah, she was. Like a lot of my church going members didn't really use scripture against me, but my mom would kind of isolate scripture and be like, look at this scripture. This says you're going to hell for being gay. And so I felt like my mom was one of my harshest critics. And he also said one more thing that out of my mom's privacy, I just don't share on air, but it was something that I'd never told a soul that he knew about my mom, and even Rachel didn't know it. And I'm like, how did you know that? afterwards, Rachel's like, he has the gift of Christian prophecy. And I'm like, what's that? I've never met anyone in my life with that gift before. And I'm like, it was like he was reading my secret thoughts. And there's actually a Bible verse that says, like, when you bring a non-believer around a prophet, he will know things about that person. And that person will say, surely God is real, because how can this person know these things about you? And that's what that moment was for me in my life. Like, yeah, I was raised in the faith, but I had never really felt like a prayer had been answered. I'd never really felt like, you know, I didn't know if I really believed in God. It's like I had this, like, I kind of treated my faith like a life insurance policy. Like, I want to go to heaven, so I'm going to say everything, but like, do I really believe?
Right.
I don't know. And I would pray at night before bed, and I would just say, like, God, use me like a Bible character. And that was probably my only prayer I made for many years. And I never saw anything come from it, but I always wondered, is someone listening? Okay. So fast forward later on that same year, I go to a sex club in Berlin, and I meet,
there we go.
Yeah. And I meet a dude, a good looking dude, and I hooked up with him. And then afterwards, I'm getting to know him, and he tells me he had sex with 15 guys last night. And I'm like, that's a lot. And then he's like, oh, that's not my world record. He's like, I had sex with 100 on New Year's Eve. And I was like, 100 guys? And I'm like, can I ask you a personal question? And he's like, yeah, go. I was like, what's your relationship like with your father? And he's like, I've never met my father. He died when I was a little boy. And I was like, well, what about with your mom? And he's like, my mom is also dead, and I have to pay her medical bills. She died last year, and I'm paying all her debts. And I was like, wow. Well, what I didn't share with you is between this appointment and meeting that little Asian prophet moves to Nashville. He takes me to a house of prophets in Nashville. The wife prays over me in a way that I've never been prayed over by anyone in my whole life. She prayed the control the devil had over my life would end in Jesus' name into my ears. Like, she sensed that I needed that kind of prayer. And I'd felt like my struggle with sin was that sin was controlling me, and I had no control over sin myself. And I kept seeing myself go into these places like, I don't want to do this. I know this could give me HIV. I know this is not okay. And yet I was letting sin lead me. Like, I had like handcuffs on me, and it's like sin is leading me to something I don't want to do. And I can't seem to win. I can't win. And she prayed over me this way of like, she was trying to break it off of me. Like, she sensed that I needed that prayer, and I had too much pride to ever ask for that prayer. I would never stand up at a church. I would never tell my mom. I would never tell a Christian, but I knew deep down I needed that kind of prayer. So she prays that over me a week before I meet this dude at a sex club. And mind you, it's like I'm still a slave to sin at this season of my life. But because she prayed that over me, I now pray that over this guy at a sex club. And I'm praying over him in a way that she kind of like she just prayed for me. And then afterwards, he's like, you look crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I look crazy at a sex club praying for you. But I really feel like that was a pivotal moment in my journey. When I came home that weekend, I thought I got HIV from this guy. And I went to go get tested because my lymph nodes were swollen, and I'd never had this happen in my whole life. I'm getting test results. I'm waiting on them. That night, my roommate, who I've lived with for a year, goes through a mental breakdown. He's naked in the kitchen, punching the air, rapping, not making a lick of sense. I wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and I hear it. He goes into his room in the morning. He apologizes, says he thinks something took control over him. And then that day, while I'm still waiting on my test results, someone makes like an attack TikTok about me because I bought a pair of shoes from them that I didn't want. And I tried to return them, and he said no. And then he found out I was famous. He made a whole attack video out of it. So I'm having a threefold attack on my literal life, my home life, and my reputation in one day. Rachel says, like, why don't we pray together and fast? And I'd never done that in my whole life. I'm like, all right, let's give that a try. So I'm fasting for the first time in my life. Next thing I know, the doctor's like, yeah, you don't have any STDs. And I was like, praise God. And then I got tested 7 months later, no STDs. I was like, okay, praise God. That weekend, I'm supposed to DJ a wedding. The groom cheats on the bride, and they call the wedding off. The first time and only time in my career as a DJ has that ever happened. So now I have the weekend free. Rachel shows me a Bible study in Nashville that I've never been to. And I just signed up for their mailing list because I'm in 0 Bible studies in this season of my life. I have 0 Christian guy friends in this season of my life. The Bible study sends an email out and is like, hey guys, here's access to a $200 conference for free. It just so happens to be on the day of the wedding got canceled. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. I asked Rachel, I'm like, do you want to come with me? So she comes and visits me in Nashville, and we both have free access. It's like, it's modeled around a TED Talk. Yeah. And it's called Think, but it's just pastors, Christian authors, and like Christian celebrities talking. The first day I get there, there's a gay porn star who gets up on stage and talks about how he left doing gay porn. Now he's married to a woman. He has 4 kids, and he talks about how much he had a radical change in his life. And he quotes a scripture that really struck a nerve with me. And it's John 10:10, and Jesus says, "The devil comes to rob from you, to steal from you, and to kill you. But I, Jesus, come to give you life to its fullness." And as I heard those words, I was like, the devil has literally been almost doing that to me. Like just last weekend, I thought I got HIV because of letting the devil do that to me. And I was like, wow, okay, I can really relate to what this is about. The next day I told Rachel, I was like, before this is over, I need a Christian guy friend. I don't have a single one. Mm-hmm. This guy comes up to me. He likes my outfit. We strike up a conversation. We become friends. I, in the future year, spent almost 40 days with him. I went 10 days in LA with him. I went to Hawaii with him for a week. He water baptized me. He also baptized me in tongues. I started speaking in tongues on account of him. And then I went to Europe with him for 3 weeks. He discipled me like no one has ever discipled me in my life. He was hearing God in his waking hours. He was reading my thoughts. Like, just to give a crazy story, I woke up, I was not attracted to him, but I woke up and had a dream where I thought he and I were hooking up, but that he initiated it. I woke up and I felt so uncomfortable about it. And then in the morning, he was like, I was praying and God told me that you had this dream that you thought we hooked up, but it was actually the devil trying to get into your dreams and to try to like pervert our friendship. And I was like, you knew that? Like, how did you know that? It was just crazy stuff like that was going on in our friendship. Okay, I know this is a long story and I'm going to try to just give you the bullet points, but while Rachel's visiting me after the conference is over, I wake up from a dream. And mind you, I never dream at all. Like, I can go a whole year and have 0 dreams. I do have some, and they're usually sexual. You know, we all get those, like, oh, I had a sex dream about a friend. That was kind of the gist of my dreams, and I'd have like 1 or 2 a year. Okay, so a couple of days after the conference, Rachel's sleeping at my house on my sofa. I wake up from a dream in the middle of the night, and one of my female friends who's Jewish has died in the dream. And in the dream, I regret not sharing Jesus with her before she dies. And then in the dream, I call my mom and I tell my mom what happened. And then a train hits me and I wake up like just stressed that a train just hit me. And I'm like, why did I get this dream? And as an awaked person, I'm asking myself, why did I not share Jesus to like gay people, Jewish people, atheist people? And I realized the reason I didn't share it is because I'm not an eyewitness to this Bible, and I don't know how much of it's true, and I don't know how much of it's make-believe. I also held a big issue with the fact that people my whole life were like, gay is a sin, and then they would get divorced, or they would get drunk, or they would have gluttony, or they would have lust. You know, I'm just like, it's such a... And
throwing stones in the glass house.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm like, and what is really a sin at all? And like, how can I be a Christian? And I don't know. And I also lived this mentality that like nobody's perfect and only Jesus was. And so I wasn't even trying to be perfect. You know, I felt like all I had to do was just profess with my mouth and I'll get into heaven. So I'm not going to even try to be perfect. You know, that was my logic. Okay. So in the morning, I'm having breakfast with Rachel and I'm telling her that I had this crazy dream, and she starts speaking in tongues, and I'd never seen her speak in tongues before. So I was like, first off, what are you doing?
Right.
And she's like, Davis, yesterday I walked into your bedroom and I prayed out loud and I asked God to speak to you in your dreams. And I was like, what do you mean? God speaks to us in our dreams? Like, I didn't know that. I mean, I can say today, having read books on dreams and having reread the Bible, that it's almost in every single book of the Bible an example of a human being hearing from God in a dream. Mm-hmm. But on that day in my history, I had no idea that that was one of the ways God communicated to us. So she goes home. I don't have another dream because I don't dream at all. All of a sudden, I'm home for Thanksgiving 2024, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I never dreamt again. So I prayed out loud in my childhood bedroom. I'm like, God, speak to me in my dreams. I get woken up from a second one. This time, I'm told to read the story of doubting Thomas, and I'm told that God is going to transform me into a new person and stop going back to the people and places I used to put myself around. I wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm reading Doubting Thomas, and I'm wondering, why am I reading this? And I felt like God wanted me to understand that even Jesus's friends doubted his own resurrection and had to touch the holes in Jesus's hands to believe. Right. And I felt like God wanted me to understand my own doubts were among even Jesus's friends. Well, crazy part of that story is from that day until today, I've never had a night without a dream. I go 6 nights out of the week with dreams, sometimes 7 days with dreams. Sometimes I have 3 in a night, 5 in a night. But what I started to stop doing was I used to just say, God, speak to me in my dreams. Then I started saying, God, heal me in my dreams. I started saying stuff like, God, take homosexuality away from me. I would say, God, give me a dream for my mom. Give me a dream for my buddy. And I would have a dream for them in the morning. And I would tell them, I'm like, I had a dream. I've had dreams about people's situations I have no knowledge of. And I'll go and bring it to them. And they're like, yeah, this is going on. And I'm like, what? it's got to be from God. Like so many of these things, they're always filled with religious situations. Like I knew coming into this podcast today that I was being attacked by lust. And I had a dream last night that there was poison ivy in my eyes because I knew that there's an attack towards my eyes right now from the devil, and they're just trying to poison my eyes with lust. So God would like warn me before I come into environments like, you're under spiritual warfare and this is what it is. So that's just like it in a nutshell, but I could tell you the dreams and like situations could kind of go pivot into all that.
So I mean, like you're on fire, brother.
Yeah, bro, because it's real. I mean, I have no doubt.
Oh, I mean, I never had any doubt that there was God. That's something I always kind of was sure about.
Yeah.
You know, I just kind of like how you said that, like there's just some things that like you see and it's almost like you want to touch the fire a little bit. But I never, you know, I've always known that the big guy upstairs is there.
Yeah.
You know, not even for the insurance policy, just by things you see and stuff like that. But what I like about it is like one of the things that you said was like, what is sin and why, like, there's no, like, sin is sin. And everyone has different propensities for it. Like some people have one thing that they like, but then they're going to shit on some, like, for example, like a straight guy who's on his like third wife, cheats on his wife, but he's like, oh, homosexuality is a sin.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest things that changed for me from basically early on in my life on TV to when I was done was I was like, basically, brother, Jesus only wants you to love and be a reflection of him. And he was friends with prostitutes and stuff, you know, like he healed everyone. He hung out with everyone. So like, for me, it was like, I came into it basically being like, I'm, you know, a Christian conservative guy. And it was like, then I'm like the biggest jerk and bigot on the show. So my biggest thing was like, I'm not being a good representation, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I liked what you said that like, you know, you got like, what you said was happening to you is something that I had probably done to people in the past.
Sure.
Like, oh, I'm a Christian, and then make them feel bad about their sin when like I'm sinning over here all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important for a lot of Christians and a lot of people who believe in God to remember is like, we're not here to judge anyone else's sin.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to show them what it's like to be a Christian, and that it means like we don't necessarily love what you do, but we love you.
Yeah.
And that's what the biggest issue I think in the Christian, like the organized church is right now, is the judgmentalness that people feel. And that's why more people are turned away from it than actually invited in.
Totally.
You know,
I mean, the Bible says that no one is righteous. No, not one. I mean,
100%.
None of us are righteous. I think every single person would lose their salvation in a matter of 30 minutes for breaking some law.
Exactly.
If they were allowed to. And so I think understanding that like the consequences of sin, as they say, are death, but it just destroys things. It destroys your relationship with your kids, with your wife. It destroys yourself. It's like you're killing yourself. It's self-harm, you know? So the idea of judging one another is in no way the perspective here, but it's just like, I kind of call sin like it grows in your garden. And if you don't cut sin out, it just grows like weeds in your garden. So it's like trimming sin. It's kind of like just having a good garden. Like let the good things grow. Don't let the dead things grow.
Well, but like that, the problem is with a lot of people is they want the bad things feel good.
Yeah.
So they want to feed what, you know, but it ends up eating them alive.
Yeah.
You know, like greed and sexual immorality, all that stuff ends up kind of like eating you alive to the point where there's not much left.
And none of this is about judgment. It's like, I don't judge you, you don't judge me. This is all just about like understanding that sin has consequences.
Yeah. Everyone has their battles, dude.
Yeah.
Like everyone is dealing with something different.
Yeah.
And that was powerful, man. Thank you for sharing that. Because I think that's the reason why I wanted you to come on the podcast was because like I knew that like you had a story, like, and you could tell like when we were talking about like reality TV stuff, you're like, yeah, that was this and that, but like you came alive when you were talking about that because that's what's important to you, and that's what should be more important to everyone, really. You know, that's a big question too. I ask people sometimes, I'm like, what do you think's gonna happen like when you die?
Yeah,
you know, like, are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Because you heard some crazy stories, like people that have been like half in the bag and they tell you what they see. That's not what made me a Christian, but that's what got me to be like, okay, take it seriously. Was like, someone was like, forget who it was telling me a story about a friend or a family member who like woke up from like a coma and was like, dude, it's real.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So anyways, it's crazy stuff, man. I appreciate you coming out here and sharing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm actually Pierre's gonna be jealous he missed that because Pierre gets fired up about that as well as I was getting like goosebumps, man.
Bro, good.
So, anyways, if there's anything else, how can we support you? Where can we follow your music? Are you on Spotify? I'm sure.
I am. I've been like in this past year of my life, I've been writing more faith-based music,
right?
Like poppy, dancey stuff, and I plan to put an album out in the future. I have a song out right now called "Baptized" about when I got baptized, and that's like my latest single. But yeah, I'm Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff.
Okay, so we can just your name, Davis Mallory, and then on Instagram, same thing.
Yep.
All right, well, make sure you guys subscribe, listen. Let's get you monetized on Spotify. Let's get those views and listens up. And get you paid, brother. And I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, bro.
We're going to be in Nashville. I know this is not official, but we were going to come to Nashville and do some stuff, do a show probably. So we'd love to have you for that.
Glad to.
We'll, you know, get the Rolodex out and get you down there.
Yeah, man.
So anything else from you? Anything else from you, G?
Yeah.
All right, man. Cool. Thank you so much again.
100%.
All right, guys. We'll see you.